Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 317 of Comic Book Queer's... I'm your host, Brett.
Wait, should we cheers? Can we cheers? Come
of course, EvilJeff. This way.
Cheers, darling. We're drinking
cheers,
some
darling.
wine. Yes.
Cheers. Hopefully it's not poisoned. We will be talking about poisoned wine later in the episode when we get into Agatha All Along, Season 1.
Yes.
Episode 3.
Yes. Oh my God. How are you doing? How are you doing, Brett?
I'm good. I'm a little shaken. I just now saw the feature film in theaters that you and I are going to be talking about in a little bit.
Yeah.
And
it will haunt you.
Oh, I'm haunted right now. I'm very, very haunted right now. I'm disturbed. I'm disgusted. I'm thrilled. I'm alive.
Yes. But I have a beef. I have a bone to pick, and I want to talk about it in my hot
Sounds
topics,
like you're a little
okay.
like something.
Yeah, I am a little like something.
And he was all like, and then she was all like, and then they were all like, and I was all like, what?
How you feeling? What's up?
All right. So this is not something new. I was always a fan of the very first Shazam,
Sure.
as the non-gay people say. And, but then by the time the second movie came out, I did not watch it because at that point, Zachary Levi started like with his anti-vax craziness.
Yeah.
And then was like supporting RFK Jr. And then it was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I found out that he had changed his name to Levi. His last name is Pugh. Zachary Pugh.
That
like
I did
Florence
not know.
Pugh.
Okay.
He changed it to Levi because he thought that would be more Hollywood, aka I want to sound more Jewish to help me out in Hollywood.
Wow.
And then started complaining that his name is too Jewish and it's stopping him from getting parts. So he is a garbage person. So here he is.
Shazam.
He is Chuck from the show Chuck and Shazam.
We remember Chuck. Did you watch Chuck? I didn't.
No. But he is now not only endorsed Trump, but is now on the campaign trail for Trump.
Oh, my God.
And so I'm
fuck?
officially saying you're cut, you're done, you're dead to me forever. We need to cast a new Shazam. He is a piece of garbage.
Well, I
not
feel
just
like
for supporting
we are.
Trump, but for literally, it's like that was the final straw in garbage person pile.
Anyone who amplifies anti-science and misinformation should not be working.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. If you believe the earth is flat, then you're not allowed to use a cell phone because that's a satellite. So you don't believe in that.
Right.
If you don't believe in vaccines and don't believe in science, you can't go to doctors anymore.
Right.
Like stick to it. Because these are the same people that will show up at the hospital and be like, fix me, I'm dying. I'm like,
can I also add, let's
die.
take it a step further. Let's go deeper and say, if you don't like our government and don't want to pay taxes, then you shouldn't allow to be use roads. You shouldn't be allowed to use roads.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Then the cops don't the cops aren't coming to your house. Oh, your house is on fire? Sorry. I think, let's opt out of people paying taxes and then we just let you die.
You just don't get any services or infrastructure.
So anyway, I just wanted to be like, as a character from the DC universe, you are dead to me, and I think you're garbage.
You know what'd be great is if James Gunn, who I am pretty sure agrees with us, had some sort of nod of like Zachary Levi's corpse hanging from, that's horrible. Zachary Levi's corpse like on the ground in the distance.
Yeah.
During Superman. Like, and Shazam died.
Yeah. Anyway.
Shazam died. He came out and he had sex with a lot of men and he died of an STI. That's how they should kill Shazam.
And it turns out he would have survived. He had just gotten this vaccine. But going down a rabbit hole, I'm going to go on a little bit of a segue, but what kind of show would this be if Jeff didn't go down a segue?
Okay.
As I was looking through like what he was in and who else was in Shazam, I remembered the one other kid from Shazam, the best friend, he starred in It. Right?
Yeah, he was the stuttering kid in It, right? He became Bill Hader later.
No. The Stranger Things guy was Bill Hader.
Right. Sorry.
But this is what I want to bring up. The stuttering kid, his adult version, I was like, oh, what else has he been in? And I, mind blown, he was in Ken Park. Have you ever seen the movie Ken Park by Larry Clark, the guy who did Kids? Basically, it's a fucked up, crazy, fucked up movie that was banned in a lot of countries because there's a scene of a 20-year-old playing a teenager where he autoerotic asphyxiates his neck like with a belt and full on jerks off to completion.
Oh,
like
wow.
it's
in
just
the movie?
a full,
like
it's
not,
a full, yeah. In the
it's not
in
practical
the movie,
effects. Well, it is.
No, a full movie, 7-minute scene of him jerking off while choking himself till
Jesus.
he orgasms. And I just realized it is the adult version of that actor from It. It's him all grown up, and my mind was blown.
Wow.
And I'm very happy that that didn't stop his career.
Yeah.
So
good.
so if you
What?
watched it and you thought, because he was kind of gay in that too, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Like he was in like
A little bit. Yeah. A little inferred.
Yeah, and so
implied.
if you were like, he was cute, what does it look like of him jerking off? Go watch Ken Park. So there's my recommendation for the day.
What do you think Zachary Levi's like? All those weird conservative people all have a secret. Like, what do you think his is?
His secret is tiny wiener.
Tiny wiener.
Tiny micro penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he keeps going, Shazam!
Shazam! It's supposed to grow up. Why won't it grow up? Not to shame anyone with a micro penis.
No, far from it. We're just shaming Zachary.
But if you have a micro penis,
Who would
love
hate?
everybody. Don't take that and then decide to destroy the world with it.
Don't become
It's
an
like those-
anti-vaxxer.
Yeah, it's like those it's like the anti-gay in the closet Republicans are
Oh, like
all
that guy.
for
There's like a Trumper
the fucking
who just,
North Carolina,
they're
the
all in
North
gay
Carolina
porn.
governor, fucking insane.
Oh my God.
Talking about I'm a black Nazi and loving
Girl.
watching guys suck dick. Crazy.
He said, I like
Crazy.
tranny porn because it's like leaving the guy in but taking the guy out.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
These people are not
So-
okay with themselves.
So I also just want to, but he's the first person to like, I think it's like these people decide I need to join politics and make being gay illegal. And maybe that will stop me from being gay.
I know what will stop me from being a weirdo, becoming a leader and forcing everyone else to live my
do it.
weirdo behaviors and values.
Crazy.
Or outlaw them.
Crazy. Anyway, that's us on our soapbox. I really want, part of me is like, I was like, hope we didn't get too political. But then I was like, we're called comic book queers. There's no right-wing people being like, I just want to know about the X-Men. Why can't you stop being woke? You queers.
Nobody who cares about people being woke listens to the show or watches
Exactly.
the show.
No, exactly. That's what I'm just realizing right now.
Nobody watches or listens to this show. We're
Yeah,
safe.
exactly.
We're fine. We can say whatever we want.
How about we go into some stuff that we've been watching?
Stuff we've been watching. Go.
What you watching? Is it me naked? No? Oh, fine.
Speaking of people who are not
Holy
okay
shit.
with themselves,
Okay.
holy shit.
No. I guess we're
So,
moving on to talk
we saw
about
a movie called The Substance.
The Substance.
Welcome to spooky season, okay? The spooky, creepy movies are here, and they're giving us
Yes.
our whole lives.
And I'll tell you this, my interpretation of this is kind of like, the vibe of it is very Pearl meets Cronenberg
Yes.
meets,
Oh, there were so
meets
many of these going through my
Lynch.
head when I was watching it. Yes. There's so many comparisons, but like,
with
but it doesn't
with a
rip
very,
anything off.
it's a feminist fairy tale. It's a feminist
It's a
cautionary
parable.
fairy tale.
It's a parable for our modern, very self-absorbed
Yes.
age.
And I will say this, It is a parable, and you need to watch it as if it's like a fairy tale. If you're going into this movie for any sort of realism, you will hate it.
This reads
Because
more like
this-
mythology than anything else.
It's mythology and it's camp.
Oh, it's camp, girl.
It's camp, and it's
Girl.
very over the top, and that's the point of it. So
It's very presentational. It is
And
yes. hyperbolic reality.
And this is a movie you need to watch with an audience, because people are going to be gasping and laughing at certain parts, and it makes it
Girl.
so much better.
I just saw it on the Upper West Side here in New York, and I was midway, like there was a point where I was the only, and it was a pretty packed theater. I was the only one laughing. Like,
Really?
I was
my
out
whole theater
loud,
was laughing
but
hysterically.
then eventually everybody was like, "Oh, I'm allowed
You're
to laugh."
supposed to laugh.
okay.
It's
And then the
supposed to be
whole-
funny. Yeah.
The whole last 15, 20 minutes, people were finally like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I can laugh at this."
Yeah.
But what's presented to you in this movie is so fucking crazy and so disgusting. You don't know what the fuck to do with yourself. Like, you don't know what to do. You don't know how to react, because it is beyond anything you've seen ever.
Yeah, and I will say people were trying to warn me that it was very gory,
It's
but
so
because
gory.
because it's so campy and over the top, it wasn't. I was okay with it. It's not like
Yeah.
Hostile or
Right.
like
Where it's
gory,
realistic. You know,
where
this
it's
was
realistic.
it was a little like Evil Dead in terms of its
Exactly.
gore.
Yes.
It's exaggerated gore.
It's so fucking crazy. And also, this movie would not have worked if it didn't have really, really, really good acting in it.
Correct.
I think this is what makes it, and like the whole film really stemmed on whether you believed these two actresses' performances, and they fucking nailed it. And then it makes me weird that why is Demi Moore not in more things?
First
I
of
felt this
all-
the same way when I saw Beetlejuice, the sequel.
Oh.
Beetlejuice, and I was like, I miss Winona Ryder, and she's great. Why is she only doing Stranger Things? Why is she not doing more stuff?
Yeah.
And I guess it's because they're older and they just don't make movies.
Well, I think there's
with
an answer
older
in the
women?
substance.
Yeah.
The substance is the answer. So yeah, this is satirizing aging in Hollywood, aging in general, being self-absorbed, seeing oneself on screens and being stuck in that feedback loop. And it stars Demi Moore, who looks fantastic, who is not
Yeah.
afraid to show you every inch of herself. Brave.
Yeah.
Brave.
Yeah.
I want to say brave.
Well, the fact that she's in her late 50s, right?
Yeah.
And she's fully naked and her body's rocking.
Her
I'm
body looks
just
great.
in awe.
Now, I will say this. You see a shot of her ass, like pretty up close. A few shots. She's standing in a way that kind of exaggerates the droopiness of it, and that it is not a perfect ass. There was some motherfucker in my audience who, when you saw that ass shot, out loud went, "Ew." And I was like, bitch, I hope you are here with your girlfriend. Like, fuck you.
That
Fuck you for
ass,
saying
her
ew
ass
out
was
loud.
fine.
Right,
I
but it
mean,
was
it's
not
not like
perfect.
it's not
It
like
had-
a manga, but that's like whose ass is
it's a
perfect
middle-aged
like
woman's
that?
ass. Like,
Yeah,
There's
but
nothing
even
wrong with
a
it. For some
most
guy-
20-year-olds' asses don't look that
right.
good.
And for some guy to go ew out loud, like,
I'd be like,
fuck
you fucking
you.
get naked right now,
You-
bitch.
Right.
You're
the
probably
reason-
fucking gross.
He's the reason for this satire, right there.
Yeah, and so now we're gonna go into spoilers because we do. But basically, she's kind of being kicked out. She's kind of like an actress, like Jane Fonda, actress exercise guru,
Yeah.
who's kind of like being pushed out for they need someone younger.
She won an Oscar at some point, but nobody
Yeah,
cares.
she has a
So now
star
she's
on the Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, which is a big book-ended kind of visual. Her star on the Walk of Fame is kind of our opening shot and our closing shot.
So she, that was the one thing is they were showing the star go through time, and then it was winter and there was snow, and I was like,
what state are we in?
doesn't snow in LA. But okay, whatever. I was like, I guess that's where you're like, this is a parable.
Exactly. Passage of time. We get it.
Yeah. So, but basically, she's really depressed about aging, and she gets offered this thing.
Angry.
It's very also Death Becomes Her, where she's like
Very.
at a hospital, and then a doctor's like, "Ooh, here's this number," and basically, it's a thing where you basically a new version, a younger, hotter version of you, will come out of your body, and you'll be passed out. And that person will be awake, and then every week you have to switch back.
Your
and
consciousness is split in between your old body and your young body, and you have to switch your consciousness into your old versus your young every 7 days. Yes.
One thing that I did not understand, that I wasn't clear on, because it seemed like it wasn't, but then sometimes it seemed like maybe it did. Do they have each other's memories when they switch back? It seemed like they maybe didn't.
Or were they so? Yeah, right. I think they didn't. They kind of didn't, which was weird. You would expect that they would, because one of the.
But I think if they because eventually the older version starts getting really bitter at the younger version.
Yeah, and the younger version becomes
bitter at the older version of having
Yeah.
to keep changing back. She just wants to live like that permanently. And eventually they're like, that's the rules. You have to switch back, or there's going to be real fucked up things that happen if you try to last longer as the young version. And of course, selfish young girl starts trying to last longer, and it starts fucking up the old version and turning her
it comes at the price of
into
the
a
older
monster.
version. Yeah. And so eventually it's the young stealing from the old. It's Demi Moore wanting to live in this young body past the 7 days that she has to switch back into the old body. And then when you do, it takes a toll on the old body. So when she switches back, she all of a sudden has an old lady finger, and then an old lady leg. And then her decrepancy just gets worse.
Old lady tits.
And worse. And worse. And worse.
Yeah. And the funny thing is they she's told when she calls, she's like, she's not following the rules. And they're just like, it's you. You're not following the rules. You're the same person.
Remember, you are one.
And then he's like, you can stop. Then just stop. And that's what I felt was the most interesting part of the movie, where the acting really is, this woman is being made old faster, but she will not give up that young version. So she's like, no.
It's such an incredible
like,
Faustian formula of like it's gonna suck. The happier and happier you are when you're young, the more miserable and disgusting you are when you're old. So you either appreciate the balance of that, or
and what's the actress's name? I just keep on calling her Andy McDowell's daughter.
Yeah,
Andy McDowell's daughter.
Oh, she is?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
I know. It's good that one of them can act in
girl,
the family.
I just found out that Hannah Einbinder is Lorraine Newman's daughter. I had
you didn't know that either?
No idea.
Do you know who thinks I'm funny? Fucking
Who?
Lorraine Newman. When I was doing when I was in Groundlings, Lorraine Newman stopped in and was watching one of my sketches, and she was laughing out loud. And afterwards, she came up to me and she was like, "That's amazing." And I was like, "I'm gonna make it." And then I performed that sketch, and it bombed. So at least Lorraine Newman thought it was funny, and I didn't get into Sunday Company. Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley. She's fantastic.
Anyway, eventually the balance completely goes out of whack, and
the young version is staying. She's going way past the 7 days because she loves her.
And Demi
superstar
Moore
life.
is now basically the witches, the Angelica Houston and the witches after she pulls the wig off.
Oh, girl.
Like, it's like fucking...
Oh, my God. When she finally has to switch back after like months of not, and Demi Moore, and she is so old that she is a monster who can't even walk. Like, her body just keeps breaking.
Yeah.
She's trying to
So
move.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
So Demi Moore is like trying. Then it's like, I'm going to kill the other person, but then she realizes she can't do it, and trying to revive her. They both end up waking up, and then they both try to kill each other, and so then that's all fucked up of the young versus the old.
And
trying
they
to kill
beat
each
the
other.
shit out of it. Like,
well, eventually she beats old Demi
she
Moore.
beats her to death, and it goes on for so long, of watching Demi Moore just get stomped to death.
Yeah,
while she's
and then
like
this is
old
all.
witch.
Yeah, and this is also the big night of her hosting this big New Year's Eve event.
The stakes
to kind of blow up her career.
You
so
know,
she ends
I
up
know the
killing
movie
her.
this made me think of. It was very Requiem for a Dream.
Oh yeah.
That especially with the like, I want you to host my New Year's Eve show. It was very like ill-defined TV special, just like that TV special on Requiem that the old lady keeps watching.
Yes. Also, just like even the billboards are like coming soon. You're like, what is this?
Yes.
You don't know exactly what it was for, but everyone knew it was like a big deal, and it's like you're going to be a star. And eventually, she goes to do the show, but then her teeth start falling. She's like pulling out her teeth. It's this is where it got to, there's parts where I was like watching the movie like this because that part started getting a little like too much for me. But eventually the clone version of her decides to re-clone herself. And that's when it just turns into a monster movie. It's like Akira. Like,
I mean, it's straight
Akira?
up like, yeah, I mean,
it's straight up
end,
Akira.
Like, let's take an X-Men analogy. She looks like fucking Zero, like that kid from the Five Lights by the end of this movie. It is so disgusting.
And it goes fucking crazy.
And she puts on a dress and fucking earrings.
With boobs coming out.
She's like the most hideous. She looks like Sloth. And Zero had a baby, and then like that baby fell into toxic waste,
and then she barfs out
too much sugar. She barfs out a boob. Oh my god! And then her actual face is on like the back of this monster, and she's like, like stop.
Yeah,
oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Anyway, I will say this.
It's hilarious.
It is hilarious, but I will say I think after she like left the studio, I was like, this could have ended. It went on for like an extra 10 minutes where I was like, we get it.
That last shot.
Also, like, you don't need a film degree to understand the metaphors of this movie because it is.
I will say that about this. Everything was so spoon-fed to you.
Yeah.
Like,
you're beautiful.
The visual
like even when she would
symbolism.
like hold up something, there would be an image of like Dennis Quaid played like the gross producer would be like, yeah, ugly. Like, you know, it was like everything.
yeah, or like when the fly was in the
that.
wine, it was like, and now we're not just gonna show that a fly landed, we're gonna close up on it for like a good 60 seconds.
Yeah.
We get it.
But it's fun. It's super fun. I think this is going to be a cult classic. I think people are going to be watching
the gays
this.
love this.
People are going to be watching this for years to come. Like this one's in the.
This is iconic.
This is an iconic movie.
It's
so
iconic.
You need to watch it,
and it's
because this is
genius.
going to be talked about for years to come.
Yeah, it's like Oh Mary.
Yay! So we talked about that great movie with great female performances.
What's another one?
How about we talk about something else with a bunch of great female performances?
Okay, because this is the only thing I want to talk about all day, every day, and that is Agatha All Along, specifically episode 3.
And I will tell you this, I went to a viewing party with a bunch of gays.
Oh, I might do that next week.
And I was like, this is the way to watch this, because the gays were eating it up.
Oh.
And people now are kind of, all of these fucking podcasters and TikTokers are like, especially straight guys are being like, what, in the Penguin? Do you think Agatha All Along is as good as the Penguin? Like, you're like, these are like the most, they're completely two different shows. You can like,
there's room for both.
Shows.
I love both shows.
I like both shows too, but they're also so different. I can't even compare them. One is like almost like a comedy.
Some motherfucker tweeted like, Agatha All Along is certainly not a show for, like, as if it's like an official review, certainly not a show for Marvel Comics fans. I was like, bitch, fuck you. Like, I am more of a Marvel Comics fan than whomever you are.
Yeah.
And I love it.
So we are going to do Agatha All Along. Each of these episodes now, it looks like they're doing that 10 Little Indians style. Someone's not going to make it after each trial, probably. What I'm
maybe.
Well, regardless of whether or not we're going to lose somebody in each trial, each trial is definitely about a particular witch's knowledge or craft or powers.
Yes.
And this first one is Jennifer Kale, our potion witch, because this first one involves wine and potions.
That's right. And also, I feel that these movies are kind of... Not saying it's one particular movie, but they're kind of a little bit inspired by certain horror movies. And I'm curious if like each one is going to be this one. And I got into a fight with people where they were like, no. And I was like, this feels very Shining, especially when they started hallucinating. I was like, this feels very The Shining to me.
Well, I think this is inspired by not horror, but prestige TV. I feel what they've been doing, even though we saw those horror posters.
So like Real Housewives.
What they've been doing is it's Big Little Lies. They've been doing.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, Deborah Jo Rupp even references. She goes in the background in one scene. She says, "Have you guys ever seen Huge Tiny Lies?" So the first they did Maryview.
I think it starts as that, but then it
did,
goes into The Shining. Once they start hallucinating, then I feel it's Shining.
It's
like
very
seeing
Shining.
the things in the hallway.
So let's break it down. So they go to, they're walking the road. Deborah Jo Rupp, Mrs. Hart, her name in WandaVision reality. Sharon Davis, her name in real reality. She wanders off the road. She almost dies. It's established you cannot take your feet off the road. They don't know where they're going until eventually they see a house out there in the distance. They go to the house. It's very Big Little Lies. It's very kind of, rich white woman. Even Jennifer Kale even says, I look like one of my customers because she sells her fake products to these
all
types
their
of
clothes
women.
are changed their clothes and hair are changed to match.
As soon as they walk in the house, their clothes are changed. And they have to solve a riddle, basically, which is, what are we to do with this wine? They drink it.
No, but okay, I'll tell you this. Did you get as soon as they read the riddle out, I went, wine.
Wine, same.
And like, everybody laughed, and then they're like, it's wine. And they were like, oh my God, you were right. And I was like, I was just making
as soon as they were like, something about the age, I was like, wine.
Yeah. So they all drink the wine, but everyone has to drink the wine. Mm-hmm. And you see that Agatha does not want to drink the wine. And she dumps it out, and you kind of see it fill back up. Like, no, bitch, you're supposed to drink it.
Yeah, and she does.
Sharon Davis drinks it first, so everything happens to her first.
And everything happens to Agatha last.
Yes. And the first symptom is basically looking like you've gotten insane plastic surgery.
You're basically looking like an exaggerated version of the types of actresses you will see on Big Little Lies.
Did you see the behind-the-scenes footage of them when they first all saw each other out of makeup?
When they first saw each other, I live for it. I love it. What did Patti LuPone say? She goes, "They look like Ange from Mob Wives." She looks like Big Ange. So yeah, they're all exaggerated, but that goes away quickly. To which Jennifer Kale says, "Oh shit! If that went away so quickly, we're basically going to die in 30 minutes." And so she, even though she has no more witch powers, has to rely on her knowledge to concoct an antidote for the poison before the clock runs out. She basically at this point has 15 minutes to do it.
Yeah, and so they all go off to find different things. They basically, it's like, you need to find the innards of an insect, honey. Then it was like, you need to find the ancient corpse.
Which I loved. I loved that Eye of Newt is mustard seed. I loved that what the big realization is that all those fancy witchy spell ingredients are just weird names for common everyday items.
It was also like the fossils. We need we need the old bones of a 2 million year old. It was like, oh, petroleum jelly.
Yeah.
And then there's a whole joke because Jennifer Kale's products are in the house. And then she's like, no, it's all natural. Petroleum wouldn't be in that. And she's like, yeah, well.
Mm-hmm. Right. And guess what? It is.
Yeah. Yeah. But as they are getting these things, the next symptom of seeing hallucinations. So Jennifer's seeing, it's weird, Jennifer Kale's seeing a doctor.
Yeah, Jennifer hallucinates this like old-timey doctor who calls her an inconvenient woman and tries to drown her.
Yeah, so I'm curious of what that is about.
Is that the person who took her magic? Probably not. Maybe?
I don't know. But then you hear like inconvenient trouble, and then it's all old timey, and then I'm like, is there a race thing happening here?
Right.
Where she
did she stumble? Like, did she happen upon something? Like, you're an inconvenient woman, and like you walked into the wrong place, wrong time. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, and so then Patti LuPone's character, what's her name? Lilia, she's seeing like middle-aged woman lady.
She's credited that old lady she sees. Well, first of all, she sees a young girl. The young girl leads her.
Oh, it's a young girl,
this...
right. I meant old-timey. I meant an old-timey young girl, not old lady.
Yes, in the credits, that young girl is called young Lilia.
Oh, so she's hundreds of years old.
And that old woman who young Lilia leads her to is credited
Yes.
and the credits as Lilia's teacher.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So that's all stuff from Lilia's past in 1400s Italy, it seems. Alice Wu Gulliver stumbles into a dressing room
With her mom.
where she sees her mother, who's having some sort of crisis. She's talking about, your grandmother died today, and basically and I'm next, and I can't protect you. Get out of here. She scares the shit out of her. The most interesting hallucination, aside from Agatha's, which we'll get to, is Sharon's.
Oh, Sharon goes back to WandaVision.
Sharon goes back to WandaVision, specifically episode 1, where she and
Like
the boss
Let Him
are,
Breathe.
Let him breathe. Yeah, where she keeps going, stop it, stop it. I feel like her saying let him breathe is what she was really trying to say, but in the sitcom reality, it was coming out, stop it, stop it. So that was cool. Sharon also has lines like, bury me in that kitchen. And this looks like the end. So a little foreshadowing on the part of whoever wrote Sharon's dialogue.
Yeah. Talk about what Agatha saw.
So Agatha, and this is after we hear from Jennifer Kale, who says to Teen, she traded her child in for the Darkhold, right? Mm-hmm. To which Teen can't believe it. And then Jennifer keeps saying, no, she did. And we don't know what happened to the kid. The kid is either dead or a demon or
Mephisto.
An agent of Mephisto. Ah! I screamed. And, but then later, Agatha, when she's hallucinating, she sees a cradle. She hears a baby crying. She pulls back the blanket in the cradle and sees the Darkhold instead of her baby.
Whoa. Now, some people are now saying, oh, maybe it's not Wiccan. Maybe this is Mr. Scratch.
Maybe Teen is Nicholas Scratch.
And I would hate that.
I don't buy
if
it
they're
because
trying
of the line
to do,
he said.
I'm worried that they're like, no, it'd be great. Everyone thinks it's Wiccan. And then the twist is that it's not. And you're like, no, please let it.
The opposite is that it's Billy and they're going to make him. Look, we all know where the sun is. It's the rabbit, Senor Scratchy.
He's the, wait, what?
Isn't he the rabbit? Her rabbit's name is Senor Scratchy.
Oh, see, I thought he was one of the Salem 7.
Oh, I think he's the rabbit.
Oh, okay.
I think
all right. Well, all of those are fun possibilities.
What fun!
Anyway, in the end, they get all of the ingredients together. It's really fun of them. She's doing it in a sink, and then she's like, "Oh wait, we need to boil it." And so he gets a sous vide.
Thinks of a sous vide.
And so then also sous vide would not boil water in 1 minute. But we have to let's go along. And then they have to get hair of everybody, which I don't think they got Sharon's hair.
They never got Sharon's hair, and that's why it didn't work.
And so they put her hair in there, and then they fed everybody, and then they're like, wait, why isn't the trial over? Oh, we have to give it to Sharon. Then it looks like the house is now underwater. Water is now coming in. They have to crawl through an oven. And as witches, they're like, no.
Well, she references Hansel and Gretel, Lilia. She goes,
Gretel.
this happened to a friend of mine. She had a beautiful house.
Yeah. So they end up going in, sliding down, getting back to the road. But
very
unfortunately,
Goonies.
Sharon is dead.
Who?
Isn't it Sharon? Wait, what's her name? Sharon?
Who's Sharon?
Wait, Deborah Jo Rupp. What's her name?
Oh, you're so funny. You're so silly. That's the hilarious final line of the episode. Sharon's dead.
Oh, right. Also, there's all of these TikToks of people being like, my favorite character died. No. And then it's like going to the yeah song.
Such a nasty business cutting to the yes after that. It's so funny. That's a Marvel joke that works every time. The Who, Thanos is coming. Who? I'm Star-Lord. Who?
Yeah.
Sharon's dead.
Love
Who?
it. This show's great. For me
show's great.
now, the stakes are so high. The character development is there. It's funny. I'm excited. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's literally ticking all of the boxes.
What's
People
so
saying
great-
that it's not bad. There is only one reason that you were saying this is bad. It is because it is all women, and you are a misogynist. That's literally the only reason.
100%.
Everything else is
Listen,
amazing.
It's only the women-led properties that get attacked. It's only the women-led properties
I
that get
can
attacked,
find a
period.
reason to shit on the Marvels, like from a filmmaking perspective.
Yeah, but
like,
before it comes out,
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. But now that this is out and people are still being like, oh, this is stupid. Like, no, it's
killing
amazing.
Penguin in the ratings. It got 9.3 million people in a
Good.
week. And so all
Good.
the who asked for this people are real quiet right now because it turns out 9.3 million people asked for it.
Good.
So, sorry. So one thing I want to say about Teen, he says a crucial line. He said, a lot happened to me when I was 13 also. In the credits, in the closing credits, whenever they show Joe Locke's name, they show a newspaper headline that says near death in Westview. I have a theory, and I think this is somewhat similar to the comics, maybe, in that I think whoever Joe Locke's body is,
Died.
I think was a kid that pretty much died.
And then the
right
soul
when-
took over.
Right when, yeah, and I think Billy's soul, when it was dispersed by Wanda, I think went into this body, and now we've got Billy Kaplan.
Yeah. I think that would be great. This show's great.
Because Teen is 16. We established Westview was 3 years for Agatha, excuse me.
Yeah.
So which means that when WandaVision ending happened, it was 3 years ago when Teen was 13.
Yes.
So, but what I love about this episode is that now it's the show. So episode 1 was like, we got to get her out of the WandaVision spell, check. Episode 2 was we have to
Gotta get the
establish the coven, check.
Check.
And now it's
now
and now
we're
here's
on
the
the
show.
road. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's great. I love it. Can I talk about some other things that I just watched just real quick? Because I
would
watched
love that.
a lot of things. And I'm just going to
Yeah.
give a shout out. We don't have slides for it. But do you know what's having a killing right now?
What?
Network TV.
Say more.
There's a new show out called Matlock,
Oh God, it's on CBS.
starring Kathy Bates on CBS. And Joe was like, someone told me that it was really good. I'm like, let's watch it. It was like really good. And there's like a huge twist. There's like a crazy twist at the very end that I was like, oh, I think I have to watch this show now.
So I saw an article in the New York Times, just the headline. It said, Matlock has always been for old people, which is why Gen X loves the new Matlock. I was like, well, I'm never watching this show. Fuck you.
Oh no, but speaking of these procedurals, like these procedural shows, I watched another procedural show because it had one of my favorite comedic actresses in it. Caitlin Olsen stars in a new show called High
I just watched
Potential.
High Potential. Yeah.
And that's really good too. I liked
Yeah, it
it
was
too.
Yeah,
So
it
I was
good.
like, that's fun. And then I also saw, speaking of Joe Locke, you know who Joe Locke's lover is and who could
Connor.
possibly be Hulkling? Kit Connor. I just saw him in a movie. I also saw this weekend The Wild Robot.
Oh yeah, he's doing an American accent too, right?
And he's doing an American accent. He plays like the goose. He's like the main character. Him, Lupita Nyong'o, and him are the main characters. And Pedro Pascal is a fox. That movie's great too. That's a great movie. And he's a really good actor with an American accent. I think maybe his American accent's a little bit better than Joe Locke's, but you know.
Yeah. He's on Broadway
I
right now
am-
with Rachel Zegler in Romeo and Juliet. They
Oh,
just
that's
opened last
right.
week.
I just watched a TikTok comparing the Tom Holland Romeo and Juliet with his Romeo and Juliet.
I bet
And just
Tom
how they're
Holland's
both
better.
good and just very different. And you
Okay.
should see both of them. All right. So
All
I guess
right.
it's just time for
Let's
X-Men.
go. Oh, let's talk about it.
It's mutants with powers, Omega for hours. Bitch, let's read some X-Men.
All right, we have got some X books that we want to talk about, starting with one that I did not read, but EvilJeff did, and he's going to tell me all about it. X-Force number Trey.
It releases a new not a new character, a character that's been around forever that then was established as a mutant called Nuclo.
Oh, I've heard
Have
of
you
Nuclo.
ever?
I never knew Nuclo was a mutant.
Yes. I think the weird thing is his parents exposed themselves to radiation so that they would have a mutant baby. And I think it was done early enough that it was like maybe that person wasn't thinking mutant. They were thinking radiation mutant. But then they're like, well, they said he was a mutant baby, so he's a mutant.
Good enough for me.
And I'm not going to talk too long about this because not a lot happens. I'm feeling this one, it's starting because it's kind of like each episode, they have a different thing to kind of this little sphere algorithm. We need to fix it. And I don't see it should be each one should be building up to something.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like any of them are building up to something. They keep laying these hints down.
Same thing over and over.
And it's like these hints down of like, what's Nori? What's the Electro Girl's Surge's name?
Yeah, Nori.
They keep just it's still like she has a role to play. I'm like, what? Stop it. Stop saying if you're gonna like lead another hint, stop saying the same hint. But then Rachel and Psylocke, they start questioning whether Tank is AI or whether he's a mutant, and they're questioning who he is.
I feel like Tank is a Forge creation.
Yeah, so they're kind of questioning that, and then they get into an interesting fight. Like they're fighting, and then they get into like a fight, and this was the most interesting thing, where Betsy was like, look, I'm going to handle this. You need to do this. And then Rachel just comes in like, no, I'll do this, this, and this. And then she kind of fucks up. And then Betsy, they kind of go into Nucleo's head and they're on like the astral plane and they're kind of fighting like, I told you not to do this. And they're kind of fighting over who has more power and who has more finesse. And I was like, okay, this is interesting.
That's very early Rachel.
Yeah.
Like diving in, like very pre-Excalibur Rachel.
Yeah, and I like that it was kind of fucking up their relationship a bit. But I think because they were in the head, they saw that Nuclo was a little baby. And I tried to like Wikipedia the history of Nuclo, and apparently he was like sent into space and then his brain never aged, even though his body did. So he had the mind of a toddler. And so but then eventually they did age him. But in this one, I think he has the mind of a toddler because they go back and it's just a little baby. And so they don't know how to stop him. And eventually everyone gets beaten and then Tank's the only one left. Oh. And then the Tank is like, what am I going to do? But I'm still like, I don't care. They try to explain a bit about how like, oh, we have to, if we don't do this stuff, then the world's going to end. And I think the thing that they're not explaining is before you had that little algorithm sphere, the world didn't end.
There was no portent, yeah.
Yeah, so I want them to talk about something like, I think it's interesting where, what show was like this, where even if you try to stop, I guess this was like Umbrella Academy, where like, now that we stopped that one apocalypse, the fissure, it's already started, so another apocalypse has to happen, so now they're just trying to keep on covering it up, and there has to be a different solution, because this isn't going to work. However,
Maybe
they're not
Surge.
saying any of that. They're not saying any of that yet.
Right.
So right now, this one, it needs some work.
Yeah, let it cook.
This, however...
Just loving it. Just absolutely loving it.
This is fucking great.
Just so good.
This is it's so well written. The characters are on point, and this is how you create new fucking characters.
Uncanny X-Men number 3, everybody.
You are creating new characters. You're showing me what are their powers, what are their histories, while they're all fighting in the danger room. It's not fucking exposition. It's part of the fucking story. It's part of the plot. It's so seamlessly.
It's a well-structured story.
It's just fucking Gail Simone, thank you.
And honestly,
you are saving the entire X-Men franchise for me right now.
One whole page dedicated to Logan and Rogue having a conversation before everyone else is awake over coffee in the kitchen. Like, that's all I want. That is all I want. I want is for Rogue wrapped in a blanket to come talk to Logan, who's already drinking. It's like 7 a.m. and having a heart-to-heart.
Yeah, where he's like, I'm leaving.
That.
I'm going to leave. And she's like,
well,
what?
she's like, fuck, you're leaving, aren't you?
Yeah.
Just these characters who know each other so well.
And it's even sidelines where he's like, tell Jubes, I don't know, just tell her anything because this is going to hit her hard. And you're like, that you fucking know these characters. You know the history between Jubilee and Wolverine. It's shit like that that really, especially I think now that the fact that it's like, I don't want Wolverine to leave, but I understand him leaving.
He's not.
He's going to come back. But I do love that it's like the brother. It's a fucking Nightcrawler. So it's Rogue and and her husband. So she has her brother and her husband.
It's family.
Yeah. So I really just love the dynamic. They're just in. Do we know? Have we seen these characters before of whose house they're staying at in Louisiana?
I don't think so. If we did, it's in a Gambit solo, which I probably haven't read.
There is one interesting line where it seems like it's just this family with a daughter. And he says, the dad's like, don't think about anything with her, with the daughter. And then I'm like, is the daughter a mutant?
Right.
Where he's like, leave her alone, even though I think she's a mutant.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is that a hint to something to come?
That's interesting.
But then we kind of also learn the Sarah character, who is the ex of Xavier, who's kind of the one attacking all of them and the one who's saying the endling. The
witch that's hunting them all down and bringing them to the mansion.
I thought she was working with the mansion. The mansion isn't, they're like, how did she get in? So they're not necessarily working with her. They're kind of like, oh, you're going to send us a mutant? Okay. But we don't know what that's about. And then she kind of fights with Xavier and basically is like, I'm going to kill all of your children.
And now, we see that this is the woman from Xavier's flashback. The woman that he meets is now this horrible demonic witch character.
Now I'm wondering, did she have a baby with them and then the baby died?
And
or they have a baby? And so now she's like, this is her revenge?
Oh, I'll do you one better. Did they have a baby together and the baby is Horse Girl?
Oh. But didn't this happen before Legion?
Yeah, probably. Why did I think
this happened before Moira?
Why do I think it's Horse Girl?
I don't know. I don't think it could be Horse Girl because I think he met him and he's like in college. So I think it's before Moira.
Before Moira.
But here's the other thing is what they did finally say is what the endling is the person who causes the end of the world. And so they're saying that one of those 4 kids is going to be the harbinger of the apocalypse. And I think it's interesting you're saying Horse Girl because I think the red herring is the Japanese kid. Because the Japanese kid seems like or the black hole kid. Seems like they seem like the two obvious because he's like one's a portal into a black hole, one's a portal into the netherworld. They seem like those could be apocalypses. Like one could start a zombie apocalypse.
One of the girls.
And so it has to be one of the girls.
100%.
But that's the thing is I'm so interested in all of that and I love their powers. I also love this is also just the art in it is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Art
How
is
about
so
Gambit
good.
laying there with his pit out in the bed?
God,
oh my God. Oh no, but whoever this artist, let's give credit to this artist because they're amazing. David Marquez, really incredible work. Draws the shit out of these characters.
Yeah. It's great. This is great. And I'm just excited to see what happens next. Do you have anything else to say on it?
No, I don't. Just that this all seems to be leading up to what looks like a big crossover coming, the first crossover, which is the raid on Grey Malkin.
The raid on Grey Malkin. They're going to go into that mansion. So that will have Xavier, all the big bads, and then you're going to have Cyclops' team and then Rogue's team fighting it out.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling what's going to happen is he's going to be... My little prediction is Cyclops is going to go in there and try and get on his high horse, and then he's going to have a panic attack in front of Rogue. And then she's going to be like, you don't got it together, bitch.
Yeah.
What else are we talking about?
NYX, honey.
NYX. You don't want to talk about Phoenix? Should we bring that up real quick? Is that in a slide at all?
No. Have we already?
Phoenix is dead to us. Phoenix, it rose from the ashes and then it died, and it's not rising from the ashes again. This is the most boring book I've ever read. It's so boring. Literally, I read it. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Nothing. So I have nothing to report. There's a lot of like laying clues and groundworks, and I don't care. I don't care. And I guess it's like we're supposed to care because it's all leading to maybe Thanos, like Phoenix versus Thanos.
Don't care.
I don't care. But you know what I do like? NYX.
I love NYX.
This is fun.
This one's focused on Anoli. Anoli, who we've just aged him up, right? He's gigantic. He's like 6'3".
He's definitely like 19, 20 now. Well, I guess since he was working in a bar, he's probably 21.
Yeah.
So he's been aged up like about 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
So it opens with them going to kind of this makeshift funeral at a gas station for a mutant that died. There are protesters there who are disrupting the services.
Was this mutant killed by Hellion?
Yes.
Yeah, so that happens, and then in the end, the anti-mutant people come, and they realize there's going to be kind of an attack on them, and it all leads to...
And I'm sorry, this person was not killed by Hellion. This person was killed by humans who saw him flash the M.
Oh, okay.
For mutant and killed him.
Okay. But eventually, this leads to Anole going down into the Morlock tunnels, and then because what's his name? Why can't I think of his name?
Caliban.
Caliban shows up to the funeral service or the memorial or whatever, and then he follows him back down, and he goes down to the Morlocks, and they're basically like, "You're a non-passing mutant. You belong here. You're a Morlock because you Caliban, are a green scaly motherfucker."
The blue girl. Isn't that Lilu from Mars, the one who became Quick in The Sins of Sinister? The one who was being taken care of by Craig Robinson?
Oh, it could be. I didn't recognize her, but the fact that Sanubar is there from Mars is very likely that a lot of Mars people are now down in the Morlock tunnels.
Yes.
Because I guess all of them did go to Earth to fight Orcus.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure a lot of them ended up staying.
Yeah,
so,
all the non-passers kind of went underground.
Yeah, so in the end, Anole, he even mentions like, yeah, it's hard to date because I keep getting guys with like scale fetishes, but I guess it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah, I always wonder that where it's tough when you are. Like, I can imagine, like, if you do have, like there's someone who's, like, if you're missing a limb, there's people that have a fetish for someone missing a limb. And then you're like, do I want to be with that? Or there's that one girl, she has a reality show where she's, like, 25, but she looks like she's 13.
Yeah.
And then the mom was like, how does she date? Because anyone into her is a fucking pedophile.
Right. Or if
it's
you were pre-op transgendered.
That's tricky too. There's a great Spanish movie called 17 Centimeters about that, where she meets the love of her life and she wants to get the full transition, but her partner's like, "No, I love your dick," and so
that was season one
this
of Pose as well.
Yeah, so it's just a very I'm clearly I don't know the answers to that, but I like having it that comparison with Anole, and he has to decide where does he belong. And I think in the end, he's like, actually, for us to have acceptance, we need to have the people willing to show their faces.
Be up there. Yeah.
And so I'm going to be up there. And then that leads to another, then there's the final big revelation, which I'm hoping it's a double agent. Wait, what?
It actually looks like he sticks with the Morlocks.
Well, I think he's going to stay with them, but he's still going to go up.
Yeah.
And be a hero.
Right. Yeah.
I think he's going to try and like live both ways.
Yeah.
But the final revelation
is
cuckoos. That Sophie didn't leave the other cuckoos. She's part of it all along, and she's trying to fuck with everybody, especially Kamala.
She's in on it with Hellion. She's like a double agent. Maybe she's a triple agent.
I'm hoping she's a triple agent.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
once
hopefully-
again, and that was a really big twist, and I was like, oh, and so I'm excited, and I like it. I like this.
It's good.
It's
NYX.
Although I
Uncanny
still am
X-Men.
like, can we get through? If this better have, if this is like a 6 issue and it ends at, I'm like, no, can we have a team, please? Can we get, I know each episode we need to get through each of the characters, but like, I want them all to start working together.
But is this a team book though? I don't know. I feel like this is like a, what are the mutants doing now that there's no Krakoa kind of.
All of them
book.
need to join up. They all need to join up to fight
Yeah.
something. I think this is all leading to when I think they're all going to have to like learn about it, and then all of them are going to be led to it, and then Sophie's going to betray them. But then I think she's then going to regret it.
She'll regret it.
Yeah.
And then
This is great.
she'll betray Empath to make it up to Ms. Marvel.
Yes.
She's a mess.
They're all messes.
They're all messes. That's post Krakoa life. One big mess.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah,
Ugh,
it's hard.
guess we should just finish our wine and just
finish our wine and I don't feel so good.
get excited for the next Agatha. Wait a minute.
Oh, my face.
Oh no. Was this wine poisoned?
Oh no, my face. Oh no, it always looks like that.
Still beautiful. Never had a stitch done.
So
Girl,
substance.
that's it. We did it. We
That's
did
it,
it.
girl. That's it.
And
Don't age.
if there's one thing I want to leave you with, listeners and viewers, it's that you need to read comics because we need more gay people. I am doing conversion therapy, conversion to gay. Just read a comic. That's all you need to do. Suck a
There you go.
dick,
Not banning
lick a
that.
puss, or read a comic. Because if you do any of those things, well, then that makes you
Bye.
Bye.
Shazam!